In 2016, I had just returned from 10 days in Europe traveling solo. I had been home readjusting to Pacific Daylight Time a mere 3 weeks when my wife and I watched an episode of House Hunters International. It featured a couple looking for a home in Antigua, Guatemala. I was mesmerized by the beauty of the area, especially the dramatic loom of the Volcán de Agua over the city. I grabbed my tablet and stealthily began to research Guatemala, and a little more than a month later, I was on a flight from Tijuana to Guatemala City. Guatemala has a long and tragic history of colonial oppression by Spain, oligarchies, and the military strongmen looting the country, and also foreign interference, particularly by the United States. It was at one time one of the most dangerous and violent countries in the Americas. After a brief flirtation with democracy in the 1950s, Guatemala's freely elected president was overthrown by a coup pushed by the US-based United Fruit Company and implemented by the CIA. Guatemala returned to military dictatorships, and a rebellion erupted in the 1960s that endured for 30 years, culminating in the worst atrocities in the 1980s. In 1996, worn out from years of fighting and with the U.S. having withdrawn its support from the government, both sides signed a peace treaty that has held to this day. Guatemala still suffers from corruption and crime, but its leaders today are subject to the will of the people, who participate fully in free elections, and Guatemalans are hopeful. For me, however, as a tourist, Guatemala was and is a sensual treat. If you know the song De Colores, there's a line that sings, De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. Translation, the fields in spring are dressed up in colors. Well, that's Guatemala to me, land of a perennial spring filled with colors both physical and metaphysical. From the brightly colored skirts and blouses of its indigenous women, the colorful bling of the so-called chicken buses, to the varied tones of its 21 different Mayan dialects, Guatemala is a polychromatic experience. The capital, Guatemala City, does not attract many tourists. Its gridlocked streets and crime make it difficult to explore the city, although I'm sure it has its merits. Antigua is a lovely colonial city of colorful facades and cobblestone streets just 35 minutes away, or an hour if traffic is bad. Its southern horizon is dominated by the spectacular cone of the Volcán de Agua. Also visible from the city are the volcanoes Acatenango and the very active Volcán de Fuego. At 5,000 feet in elevation, Antigua boasts of springtime temperatures throughout most of the year. I always stay at Elsa's Airbnb, just a short 10-minute walk from the town's Parque Central, a lovely plaza with a well-known fountain featuring mermaids spouting water from their breasts. There are always indigenous women here selling shawls and trinkets to visitors, local kids hanging out, ice cream and food vendors, and shady places to sit and relax. Antigua is a great walking town, but it's still fun to ride the blinged-out chicken buses or the three-wheel tuk-tuks. Just expect more excitement than comfort if you travel like the locals. Before the catastrophe of the 1773 earthquake, Antigua was Guatemala's capital and the jewel of Central America. It boasted fine homes, beautiful churches, and was a center of power for the region. Rather than abandon the city after the disaster, they relocated the capital to present-day Guatemala City, but many residents stayed, and the ruins of the 11 churches stand today, some still partially in use. Guatemala is known for its excellent coffee, and several coffee farms called fincas are nearby and open to visitors. I visited Finca Philadelphia for an interesting tour in an open-top truck and enjoyed a fine cup of coffee at the end. There are many restaurants about town, and unfortunately some American fast food establishments as well. But one of the most interesting is La Cuevita de Urquizu, that was once featured on Andrew Zimmern's Bizarre Foods show. This family-run business offers traditional dishes from throughout Guatemala that range from the tasty pepián to more challenging dishes, at least to this tourist, such as revolcado. If your desire is for a less rustic meal, high above the city with an amazing view is El Tenedor, that offers fine dining and wine. The tables have linen tablecloths and napkins and are decorated with a small flag representing the country of each guest. Guatemala also produces a high-quality rum called Zacapa, and one of my favorite things to do is to head over to the Café Sky and order a glass while I write in my blog. On good nights, it offers a view of the Volcán de Fuego erupting in the distance. There's so much more to Antigua, but we'll only share a few more pictures and video with you here. In the next two segments, we'll feature Lake Atitlan, Market Day in Chichicastenango, a climb up the slopes of an active volcano, the Mayan ruins of Tikal, and All Saints Day in Zumpango.